What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Young Mashnun. At the coffee shop I work at, I have this guy that comes in literally every single day, and every single day he called me something different. His go to right now is Mashu, like Mashu, Mashu. But I've heard it all. I've heard Michael. I've heard Nacho. He's called me Pablo. He's called me many things. I accept them all, honestly, because I get it. Names are hard. Names are hard. And honestly, like, I understand where he's. I understand how he gets Pablo from Mashman. I've gotten. You know what I hate. I hate saying my name at the register when I order a coffee. I hate it because I can never only say it once. Like, they always need a repeat. They always need a repeat. And like after the repeat, I'll spell it out and they'll still put Pablo or something. They'll still spell it wrong. Anyways, as you can see, this is a podcast and it's called Difficult Dish. I'm always mad at me with that. It's Difficult Dish is a podcast about different South Asian narratives. It's hosted by myself, Masha Munir. It's hosted by my co-host. Sorry, she's not here. All the Mo lovers, she's not here. It's just me. It's just your boy. She's out and about doing her thing. We have to get a little episode in, so it's just me out here. And as you see from the title, we are going to be talking about why it is important to keep yourself busy. And I feel like there's a shift. I feel like there's a shift going on in the world. I feel like in like the late 2010s, everyone was on their shit, their hustle shit. Everybody was working hard, blah blah blah. COVID hits, right? We get a little pandemic. Everyone is sent home. Everyone loves to be home now. Everyone is starting to love their free time. Everyone's starting to love, spend their little time reading their little book, which is cool. No hate on my book readers. Everybody's just like doing their thing, like touching grass, like at home, cooking every meal at home, whatever it is. But I feel like in the last like 6 months ish, whatever, there's a resurgence of like people starting to get back out there and stuff. And I'm not saying go work an investment banking job 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm not saying do all that. That's OD. But I'm talking about keeping your schedule booked and busy with things to do. The majority of them being, monetarily beneficial. Maybe not majority, but, a good chunk of the time going to monetary benefits, monetary, gain, putting that work in for some to get this bread, right? But the other time being like, things like, to feed you, but to also, like sharing your time with other people, gaining experiences, gaining new skills, educating yourself on some, all of that. I feel like being booked and busy is a trend again. I feel like people are tired of, all the free time in their life. People are tired of being in bed all day, whatever it is. Or I might be lying, or maybe I'm completely incorrect with my hypothesis, and I'm just describing me, because this is how I feel. All right, so that's what we're gonna get into this episode. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because I'm feeling kind of sick, and I'm be honest with you. I've been on a little bender. And I don't really feel like talking right now. I have to be honest with y'all. I've been on a bender. Y'all gonna ask why? This type of bender I've been on. I have been writing poetry nonstop for the last like 5 to 6 days, which doesn't sound like a lot. But when you are just blocking out any sort of thought or rumination about anything else other than one specific thing, a day could feel like a month because you don't have any variation in your thoughts. I have not been thinking about anything else about the poems in this book, the formatting, the editing, the promotion, the book cover, how I'm gonna complete the story, all that. That's all I have been thinking about, and it's been taking a toll on me. So that kind of inspired why I wanted to talk about this, because I'm tired, but I'm back in that, like, I feel so good to be back in that mode, and like, this is one specific, I'm talking about writing, but it's beneficially affected my life in the last week, where I just feel like I'm back on go, like I'm feeling good again. I'm feeling like purposeful again, so whatever. In this episode, this is an episode, I'm gonna be talking about, a little bit about my history of, work-life balance, keeping myself busy, free time, a little bit talking about that. I'm going to be talking about what are the cons of having free time? What are the cons of too much self-care? Because like I said again, a lot of us focuses on, have your free time, have your self-care time, it's important. What happens when you have too much? Let's talk about it. Because I could talk from experience, but I've been like flipping it from like what my life has been throughout my entire life, which was just like work hard, hustle bustle, versus last year. I'll get into it. And then after that, I just want to talk a little bit about like the title, why it's important to keep yourself busy. What do you get out of staying busy? I'm not even talking about like you get more money or something, but it's just like, what does it do for you? How does it affect like your actual like emotional being, and how can it propel you to like continue growing in life, and just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. Just y'all get it. Y'all get it. I'm not gonna spend too much time here because again, I'm not feeling good. I'm y'all probably hate listening to this. And towards the end of the episode, I want to talk about my book a little bit. I'm very close to being finished, and I have never been more excited about anything in my entire life. I'm not gonna lie. Other than like graduating from UCF, there is nothing that's ever excited me more than completing this book and sharing the manuscript with like my loved ones and stuff. So I'm gonna share like the book title in the end. I'm gonna tell y'all a little about it at the end, but you gotta watch through this first, or you can skip through. It's up to y'all. But I'm gonna just talk for a little bit. Okay, so a little bit about my history when it comes to said topic is my entire life I have been preached to about hard work, hustling. You need to work in life. You will get your free time whenever the time comes, but right now you need to work and you need to set yourself up for a good foundation for your future. I started working at a gas station when I was 11, 12 years old. I was selling shit all throughout, whatever. I was doing the whole thing, right? So I was doing that my whole life, right? 16, 17, 18, Even when COVID hit, I had a full-time job, and I was full-time in school. And I was full-time son doing whatever. Whole thing, right? And that's who I believed myself to be. I believed myself to innately be a man that like forces himself to love working and love staying busy and love, vertical progression in life. And to say I am still that, yeah, sure, whatever, we'll get into that. But I thought that's who I was. I thought one of the core competencies of mashnun was he is a hustler and will never stop working at anything. I moved to New York City. I'm unemployed for the first time in my life. First time in my life since I was like 10. I'm unemployed, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I loved it in the beginning, and it was messing with me because this is the first time where I'm questioning myself. I'm like, yo, am I really like that? Like, am I really like the type of person that I thought I was my entire life, which was like working nonstop? I don't know, because now I got nothing to do and I love it. And I think I loved it in the beginning because it was like a recharge time for me. Like, hey, you've worked for a long time, chill out for a little bit. Cool. I spent so much time just like listening to more music, playing chess, whatever it was. This love very, very quickly faded. Not very quickly, but it faded. Couple months into like being unemployed, whatever. And even getting back into like the rhythm of things, of like having a job and like, just doing little things here and there, like I still didn't feel that same drive that I had when I was 23. I think of the years, if any of y'all listening that are 23, I think 23 years of age is the prime time of life. Because I've spoken to this about a lot of people, and they all said, like, yeah, 23 was it. 23 was it. 23 was it for me. I was peak everything. And I look back at that time like, am I ever going to get that back? Am I ever going to be like that again? Because I loved who I was at that time. I loved how much I found myself capable of doing. And so I say that to say, like, I haven't felt like that in, like, the past few months. Even getting this job back, trying to keep myself busy, whatever. But I think the inspiration behind this episode is talking about how giving yourself something to create, something very meaningful and purposeful to create yourself and innovate is one of those things that could really bring that back into you. So that's a little bit about the history. I was a hard worker my whole life, always trying to make things happen. Then I turned into little puddle, just relaxing, just spending time, just doing whatever the hell he wants. And now I feel back in that mode. And it's all because of giving myself something very, very purposeful to work on, which in my case is this book. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the cons of free time and what having too much free time can do to you. To start off, having too much free time doesn't inspire you to create your own schedule. Because if you have too much free time, if you're chilling too much, you're gonna put random things on your schedule. Even if you're like, okay, I gotta make myself a schedule just to feel like I'm more busy. Cool, that's the right thought process. But then when you go to put your schedule and you put wake up 11:15 at 11:30, go brush my, like, putting like things that aren't meant to be on schedules, put on a schedule, you're just wasting your time. I think not having things on your schedule or not having purposeful things on your schedule just makes you lose track of time and makes you just, you're gonna spend all your whole day just scrolling, just like intaking, consuming, and you're gonna a part of like your body is gonna make yourself believe that you're making use of your time, because like I think that's how like a lot of us like process like consumption. Like I think about this a lot. I need y'all to think for a second. When y'all scrolling on TikTok, I'm sure 95% of y'all open TikTok today. Do you remember any of the TikToks you saw? Be honest. Do you remember any of the TikToks you don't remember a single TikTok you saw? Today, you probably saw a TikTok about the lifespan of orca whales and what they eat on their diet and what happens to their bodies after they decay. You don't remember any of that. Be honest, you don't remember any of that. That's the effects of consumption, because like part of you watching that thing make yourself believe that like, oh, I'm learning something. You're not. you ever remember shit from when you scrolled on TikTok. So spend a little less. So start understanding that like, yeah, if you're watching educational content, like you have to retain. That is the point of it. If you're not retaining, you're wasting your time. And that's the thought process I've been trying to have when it comes to like consumption and like whether it's like listening to music or just like whatever, just consuming. If you're not retaining anything, it's quite literally a waste of time. Like you don't remember absolutely anything from what you did. And like, oh, if you use the excuse of like, oh, like I was just, it's my downtime, my chill time. Cool, you can have that. Not for 4 hours a day. You don't need 4 hours a day of downtime. You don't need all that, especially if you haven't had like a productive day. Feel me? So that's one. I think another con of having too much free time is you can find yourself giving too much of your time to other people. And I think that's something that a lot of brown people struggle with, because, we naturally do that to our friends and our family. Specifically, our family will provide them a big chunk of our time. But when you got things to do, when you keep yourself busy and you have a reason to tell your parents no for something, or tell whoever it is no, like you gotta do this and do that, you don't feel as bad saying no because you actually have something to do, versus, when we don't have much to do and our parents ask us to do something that like we probably should be saying no to, because maybe like we have to get them to start doing something on their own, or we just need a little bit of space from them, or whatever it is, we feel much more guilty saying no to them, because we know that when we say no, we're just going to go back to laying in bed and doing nothing. So I think that's something that I loved when like my schedule was like packed a couple years ago, like when I was like in school or whatever, is like I think there was an understanding of like, specifically like my mom or whatever. It's like, yo, like I gotta do this right now. I gotta do this right now, and like we're gonna be good, and like you're gonna be good, but it's like, let me do this right now. And she's like, cool, I got you. Versus if I'm telling her no, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't da da da, and I'm just playing League of Legends all day, she's gonna think some type of way, and I can't knock her for that. And then when she's thinking about it some type of way, I'm gonna get upset with her. She'll be upset with me. It's not a good situation, So, and I think lastly, like this may not make sense, but it's like, yeah, off days, da da da, cool. I'm talking about when you get too comfortable, having nothing to do. It's like if day one, you got nothing to do, and you're like, man, that felt really good. Let me do that tomorrow. And it might not even be like the next day, but it'd be like, like this week I took 1 day off. Next week I'll take 2 days off, cause it felt good. It feels good. It's like McNuggets, bro. It's like you can't have too many. You can't have 20 McNuggets a day. The buffalo and the honey mustard and the ranch and the barbecue and the sweet and sour sauce. It's like once in a while, right? But I think with having too much free time, you fall into it, deep into it. And then in turn, when you have fallen too deep, and then you realize you're too deep, and you're like looking up from the abyss that you are in, and you're like, damn, like how'd I get here? Or like, damn, how the hell do I get out of this? That happens a lot. That happened to me. Like waves and waves. I never like didn't do shit for a week straight, but it's like I'll have an off day, and like I'd be like, man, I want to also do nothing tomorrow. I'm not gonna lie. And like sometimes I cave in. Sometimes the second day I'll do nothing, and then by that third day I'm like, damn, I just withered through 48 hours of absolutely nothingness. And then you feel like shit, and then it gets hard to get back into the groove, like harder to get back into the groove. So yeah, too much free time, not that good. Little free time, obviously, it's understood. Okay. Now I just want to talk a little bit about the pros of staying busy and having a packed schedule. As for me, some that I recognized, and I think this is true with a lot of people, but a lot of people don't admit it, or maybe haven't thought about it, is when you have a busy schedule, in a way, it makes you more motivated to do more, Whereas you would think like, oh, if I just spent 16 hours of my day doing shit, I'm dead. I don't want to. Like, I need the next day off. No, I think a lot of people naturally think like when they have a busy day, they're like, yeah, let me just keep this up a little bit more. I'm like, yo, I had such a productive day. I'm okay with doing one more thing. Like, yes, I will sleep good at night. I will get my rest. But it's like, say you work 9 to 5, you gym, clean, at 9:30 p.m. You're probably tired, but your friend is like, yo, like you want to come sit in the studio with me for like an hour or two? I would be. I don't know about y'all, but I'd be like, yeah, sure. I'm probably tired, but it's like, yo, like this was a good day. I know my time with my friend is gonna be a good time. I know I might, we might work on a little something. We might have a good little conversation, like drop some game. Like it's a good time. It's cool. I'll be home by 12. I'll still get like 8 hours of sleep. I'm good. I think that's how a lot of people think, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't process that, because that's how I thought. Because like that's how I thought back then, and that's like how I've always felt in my life. Whereas like on the flip side, it's like you would think that if you have say tomorrow. My plan for tomorrow is at 8 p.m. I'm gonna write for 3 hours, right? And I have nothing else to do for the day. You would like, it would make sense that I'm motivated to or oh, I'm gonna have a good writing session because oh, I have all this free time to relax, do my thing, chill out, and then it's time to work. Versus I recognize for myself, it's no, I write the best at night when I have had the busiest day of my life, where I woke up at 7, I did that, worked, ran, gym, everything, and then after going through a whole productive day, now at nighttime I gotta spend some time. I spend some time doing a little writing. That writing session is incredibly productive, and there's probably a science to this, but I am no scientist. I am a podcaster. I don't know the explanation of this, but it's just how I feel. And if you never thought about that, maybe think about that a little bit. Maybe think about, why it might be hard for you to complete that portfolio or, start that new song. Maybe because you're just spending your entire day just thinking about that, to where when the time comes, you're you're not flowing. You're not flowing. It's that flow state. It's I work at a coffee shop. When it gets busy, I'm in that flow state, right? It's yeah, I'm tired. A little sweat, da da da. But you're flowing. You're putting a shot, getting a cup, da da da. It's that flow state, and that flow state is, again, there's probably science to it, but I'm no scientist. I'm a podcaster. That flow state is very, very. It's a very productive zone to stay in, and I think that's what it comes down to when I'm talking about being busy. It's when you're in that natural essence of doing things that are making you happy and spending your time wisely and knowing that you are living your day as a productive human, it makes you happy and it makes you excited to continue and to keep going. Versus if you do nothing for a long time, it does not make you excited to do something. It might make sense that, sure, sometimes it does, whatever, but it doesn't keep you in that state of human productivity that drives us to chase our goals or accomplish something that's been on our mind, So yeah, I talked longer than I wanted to. That's pretty much it. If y'all liked any of that, if any of that made sense, tell me somehow, put it in the comments, whatever. Let me know that I didn't waste the last 30 minutes of my life. If you made this far, I'll tell y'all a little bit about my book, just because I'm very excited about it. If you couldn't tell from the first time I mentioned it, I'll tell you now, I'm very excited about my book. The title of my second poetry book will be titled Umakao. I don't know if I said that on the podcast before. It might be my first time, I don't know. It's titled Umakao. Umakao is a small city on the east coast of Puerto Rico, the island under Florida. It's the first place I ever traveled to alone, other than New York. And I don't really have a description of my book yet, but I can tell you that it is a compilation of poems that I've written over the last 2 years as a man that has graduated, has entered this next stage in his life, has been blessed with the opportunity to travel to a plethora of places. This book has poems from Puerto Rico, so many from Colombia, from Ecuador, from London, from the villages or my mom's village in Bangladesh, of course New York, Miami, so many places. And I'm just really, really excited to share this work because I've spent the last 2 years really studying, reading up, studying poetry. And that's something that I didn't do for my first book. My first book, wrote a little shit. I rapped all of high school. It was just rap bars I put into a book. I put it out. It was no poetry. The second book is really I've really spent so much time just studying my favorite authors from old to new, 1800s, 2023, anything. And it's just a culmination of just everything that I've learned and everything that I've experienced in the last 2 years. And I cannot tell you how excited I am because the poetry is very, very good. This poetry is very, very good. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, let me stop. I'm blabbering now. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the podcast of Difficult-ish. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Hopefully you did. My 10-second advice for this episode will be email subject lines are very, very important. I understand, like, professionally, if you're sending an email, do it the professional way. But if you're, like, outreaching to somebody, trying to get someone's information, make it a little witty. Make it a little witty. Put a little smiley face. Put a little emoji. Something that, like, makes it different than saying, like, reaching out about opportunity or whatever. Subject lines are very, very important because it's what they say about first impressions matter. That's your first impressions really matter. Make your next subject line very important. If y'all reaching out about trying to work with somebody, trying to do make it catchy. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Difficult Dish. If you made it this far, please comment on the book emoji. Just drop me a little book emoji. Drop me a little book. That's all I got for this episode. Thanks. That's the worst ending ever. Thank you guys so much.